Welcome to Raised Women, the podcast, where we are raising women up in faith, life, and the marketplace. This is your push-play community, and I am your host, Tash. We're diving back into our Carrying Culture series this week, and I'm so glad you're here. Last week, we heard from Bianca from the Menang mob in Albany, who brought us into her world. We've been holding space for some deep, powerful conversations at the intersection of faith and Indigenous identity, and today's no different. Joining us is a good friend of mine, Stacey, a proud Aboriginal Christian woman, friend, mum, and nurse who also works very hard, and she's here to share her story on what it means to carry culture while walking with Christ. Let's dive in. Welcome to Raise Women, the podcast, Stacey. We're so glad you could be here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So would you like to share a little bit about your background?
My name is Stacey. I am a Noongar Nanga woman from the Ballardong tribe. I'm also from South Australia, but we are from Port Pirie to Port Lincoln, and there's this big part of the ocean. But today I will talk about my Noongar heritage because I was born in Perth. That's basically all along the Derbyl-Yerrigan, which is the Swan River. And where my dad's family is from York. So they were all born there. They're all buried there. That's home. And I'm a mum to a 14-year-old. He just turned 14. He is very sweet when he wants to be. And he just loves, like what every boy loves. He loves his football. He loves his Fortnite and just hanging out with his friends. I am a enrolled nurse. Instead of telling you the long story, what happened was I ended up becoming single and I needed a job to support my son, and nursing, all the doors just happened to start opening for me. And it was something that was on my mind since I was in high school, but I didn't like the idea of looking after people and a lot of the medical procedures where I was like, oh, I don't think I could handle that. And I ended up in Curtin University for a pre-med course, and I fell in love with everything medical. And I just thought it was so hilarious because I was like, I don't like blood. I don't like watching people go under anesthesia, and now I just love it. If there's a procedure, I'm there. If there's blood, I'm cleaning it up. So nursing it's interesting. It's never the same thing every day. So I like it. Took me about 3 years to get there, but I'm here.
And in terms of your faith journey, how did you become a Christian? What is your testimony?
I am 35 now. I was raised in the church. My mum became a Christian before she met my dad. Once she met my dad, she was already a Christian, and he really fell in love with her, and she wouldn't go out with him unless he was a Christian. So he gave his heart to the Lord, started going to church, started reading his Bible. Then he saw my mum again. He's like, I'm a Christian. And they got together. They've been married for so long. And because of their belief and having Jesus in the center of their relationship, in their marriage as well, we grew up in church. So every Sundays we're up early, putting on ugly dresses. Sorry, I don't like wearing dresses. But my mum had all girls, so she loved dressing us up. And then she had 2 boys, and she just loved dressing. We were always dressed up. And we were in a church called Christian Outreach Centre, which was in Kalgoorlie. And then we moved to Port Lincoln, was in another Christian Outreach Centre. And that was the church where I decided to give my heart to God. Through a youth camp, I was 13, and it changed my life throughout my whole journey with God. I can have days where I'm like arguing with God going, I don't want to do that, but it's always in the back of my head like God's going, but we're going to do it together. So I'm like, okay. So every day is a challenge, but every day it ends with this big, I made it through it and I had you today. So it was good. So yeah, I was 13 and lived for God ever since. Church every Sunday. Had to go through a few churches to find my home, but no matter what, we've always had God in the center of our life. So yeah.
And what has your walk with God looked like as an Aboriginal woman?
I would say that it was a bit challenging just because of our Indigenous culture as well. So if we were to go and hang out with, I have a few family members who just love our culture, and I love it too. But there's a part where there's a spiritual side in Aboriginality where I'm like, but I can't go that far because I believe there's one God. So that's kind of the things where it was a bit a challenge. And trying to have our family members understand that our way of life, our spiritual life is with God, not with our land and our elders and stuff. So I appreciate the whole story of it and I love learning about it. But once it gets to a spiritual side with the Aboriginal culture, that's when I will put my foot down and be like, we're done. I'm going to go home because there's only one God for me. And I just believe He's the creator of everything. And if you're believing this, I'm believing the God who created that. So I feel like my God's stronger. But no, it's been good. And it's been nice because our whole family knows we're the Christian family. And no matter what, they'll always try to see, oh, would you come? I'm like, no. And they're, oh, okay. But we're the ones they always call, can you pray for us to do this? We're the ones they call, we're like, why is life so hard? And we always felt like that one that's always supporting our family from a different point of view, and feel like they do appreciate it because they know there's something there. But our family's just like, one day we'll be with you on that side as well. But we like life at the moment. So it's just one of those situations at the moment. Growing up, it was hard. Now I'm just like, I know who I am. I know whose I am.
How did you know when to put your foot down? Did that just come with the journey, or what did that look like?
So I'd say it came with the journey. Any teenage, you're in high school, giving your heart to the Lord and you're like, okay, I'm going to live like this. Then you go back to school, you see all your friends and you're like, you can see, well, from my point of view, I could see that the way a few of my friends were living, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. So it was just, I feel like it was God showing me, you can help, but I want you to live this way first. Yes, there was times when I'm like, but they're all over there. I'm going to go over there at the moment. It's just for now, God. As time went on, as you got older, it just started making more sense, and you dive into the Bible more and you read His word. And it was starting to line up with what I wanted in my life and what I could see with my friends and stuff, how it just wasn't coming, they weren't coming back together. So it was, we're going to go our separate ways. And I do feel like it's maturity as well.
How were you raised in culture?
In our culture, I'd say we're just raised more in the church. So our parents, as much as we loved our Aboriginality, and we would celebrate every year on NAIDOC week, we'll go and do all of our big events and we'll go and support our family, and we'll also do, like for parties and stuff, we'll celebrate with our families. For funerals, we'll do it our ways of like getting together and coming together and being a family. But then being raised in the church, we were also protected by our parents by not seeing a lot of the things that our cousins and our family members all went through. And now as adults, we're trying to do it the same way of protecting our kids from not seeing what's out there in the world, if that makes sense. Not being so much where we're like hovering and sheltering them from everything. Like they know that there is stuff in the world that's not good. But like with my son, I just keep talking to him about reading the Bible and coming to church and building that fellowship within our church, which is a way of just showing him that there is life out there. But with God, it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like having God at the center of your life, including with your Aboriginal culture, you can see the difference. Yeah, we were just raised in the church and we'd celebrate just by our yearly NAIDOC, would always celebrate it. And I would walk around proudly saying I'm an Aboriginal woman, but I wouldn't go too far into the spiritual side of it by just saying I believe in God, and trying to bring that on to my son's life as well, because he's into his Māori and his Aboriginal culture. And we're trying to find that line, because I know the line for our Aboriginal culture. I'm trying to find the line for his Māori culture to see, you can do this. Like he's learning so much and I love that he is. I can't teach it to him because I'm not Māori, but he has a course in school and we're just trying to figure out the line from culture to our walk with God. He's starting to pick up on it, which is good. And I'm enjoying that because he is seeing it more than me with his Māori side.
Can you share a moment or memory that made you feel deeply proud of your identity?
Like I've done the traditional dancing for my school and stuff during NAIDOC week. We've got to dress up and stuff. But I think I was more proud of being Aboriginal when I saw my son do it. I grew up and I knew, oh, I'm Aboriginal, I've learnt this, I know how to cook this. I was just like, oh, I'm so proud, like this is our culture, it's so colourful, it's so beautiful, it's so earthly. But once I saw John do it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud because I feel like I've not only shown him of giving him his Aboriginality, but he is picking up on things, and he's like had the full-on costume and the painting, and he just started dancing, and I cried, of course. And then it was also when I saw him do his haka, and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, my boy is like, he's very multicultural at the moment, and he's not only just picking one, he's taking them both on so hard. Like, he will walk around and he will say, I'm Aboriginal Māori when it's NAIDOC week, and when it's to do with the Māori side, I'm Māori Aboriginal. And I'm like, no, in Australia, you're just Aboriginal Māori. But I love how he brings both of them out. He never says, oh, I'm just Aboriginal or I'm just Māori. He will always bring them both out. And I feel like that's my proudest moment, because not only of me growing up in a church and saying, oh, I'm Aboriginal, he's taken the next step by doing actual steps within his school and standing up in front of his classes and doing Welcome to Country and learning all the Māori songs. But just watching him embrace his culture is actually, it's so beautiful. That's my proudest moment, I'd say.
What would you say that it means for you to carry culture today as a younger Aboriginal woman of faith?
There's like so many things as an Aboriginal woman where I'm like, I want to learn this so I can help certain communities. But for me to do that is like so much work. So as a nurse, I took on this role to be the middle person for the Aboriginal people who come in from communities, and they're just like so shell-shocked with how fast-paced hospitals are, fast-paced how doctors just walk in and out, and they're like not understanding exactly what's happening. They've been taken away from their family, and it's just that whole, just wanting them to understand that it is a safe place in a hospital. Yes, it's just so busy, but trying to have a communication barrier where they feel safe. And then on top of that, also like coming from the Christian side, this is where I think it's like, it's not a bad thing, but it's also, I have such a big heart, and so it's so soft sometimes that I will try to see the good in everybody. And I always say it's my heart from God. And it can also be a downfall sometimes, because it's like people do take advantage. So, but I will do it. Like if I'm helping someone, especially within my nursing, especially with patients who just need that extra help, and finding how the culture can come into it. Like I said, with the hospitals and stuff, just making sure that they're comfortable. And then a lot of them have come in and they've talked about God, and it's just having that understanding of like knowing where they are within their culture and knowing that there is a God. It's nice to have both. I have the whole mindset of, oh, here's medical health. I know how to work on that, but also knowing that God's with me and giving him that extra talk. I've actually prayed for patients as well. Patients have just asked, and it's just that whole nice feeling that they could feel comfortable. This is all my Indigenous patients too. Like you would think them coming in, they're going to be so quiet, and then it's like, that's it. I just want my medication. Let's go. No, they like to sit down and chat, and just finding their comfortability and how to communicate with them. It just works really well. And I feel like that's just trying to help them. And if you're going to walk in and just be rude, they're going to be rude back to you. And that's just anybody really. So that's what I see it as, like just trying to help everybody, just trying to help the Indigenous people, especially from communities and stuff.
What would you say to Christians who may not understand the importance of Aboriginal culture?
It's just really having the education, really. So I've met a few people at church who would ask questions, and sometimes it's always the same question, like, how do we talk to them? I'm like, you just say hello. So they're going to be shy, and it's just having this whole communication of just being friendly, and also having an education on how Aboriginal people think, sort of. I know when the first time you meet someone, it's just, they're always a bit shy. And I've noticed you'll have a handful of Indigenous people who are like so out there, who will introduce themselves, who are so like extrovert, but majority of them are so introverted, and they're just like, I don't want to be here. But the moment they start to feel welcome, and there's someone there who's going to always say hello to them, especially in a church or even in a workplace, they're going to continuously come back. So I feel like knowing their type of like introvert or extroverted will help you build something with an Indigenous person within your workplace and stuff. Like we've had a few Aboriginal people come to church, and I had to talk to a few people just to show you can pick up who is the shy ones and who aren't. Like one of our pastors has a very good example of doing it, and he says it in a way like he's an extrovert, and he will stand and look and see someone who's shy, and he's like, all right, now I've got to put my introverted voice on. hi, I'm so-and-so. And I'm like, there we go. That's just the whole understanding of the person individually. If you have a group, you can go in as a group. If he's by himself, just slowly walk over and be very kind.
What does integrity look like for you when it comes to carrying both your identities in Christ and within culture?
Above all, it's my faith first. It's never, I'm a Noongar Christian woman. It's, I'm a Christian Noongar woman. Because I believe it's always God first and then your list. It's never my family, my work, then God. So I feel like when I introduce myself, especially in church, I will say, because they know I'm already a Christian, I'm a Noongar woman from the Ballardong tribe, if they ask that. Or it's just when I'm at work, oh, you're Aboriginal? Yeah, I'm a Christian too. And they're like, what? And then I always get like these looks. So I was just trying to like not take a lot of things personally when they hear that you're Aboriginal, but you're a Christian. How does that work? I'm like, it works. There's no like, I can't be one or the other, because it's just like there's a lot of different cultures who believe in God. So why is it so different when an Aboriginal believes in God? Is it because our culture is so big that the spiritual side and giving back to the land and having our elders and like the dream time and everything? I was like, that's beautiful, but my God is beautifuler, if that's even a word. I stand strong in my faith, knowing who I am. And there are days when I will cry and go, why am I Aboriginal? Because it's so hard. And then there are days when I'm like, thank you for making me an Aboriginal, your Aboriginal child. Because I feel like, for example, okay, Moses' story is one of my favorites, and how he goes back in to save his people, bring them out to go to the promised land. I always see it as God's like, I want you to do something like that. Go and save your people. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. But I talk to a lot of Indigenous people and they're just looking at me in ways where I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to like talk to you about God, but I'm trying to do it in a nice way. And I'm not going to Bible bash you. I'm not going to force God down your throat, but I'm trying to just plant a seed. And then I can see how God is trying to work with that, and how I see as, okay, is this why I like Moses' story so much? Because this is what I'm doing at the moment. I would never say I am Moses, because I'm not going to part the ocean or do anything. But I just love how he used him in ways when people hated him. No matter what, wherever I go, you're always going to be hated by somebody. But with God by your side, I feel like everything can be easy. Like someone can yell at me, I hate you. I'm like, oh, I love you too. And I'd walk away, not really taking that in.
How do you think we can better support First Nations in Australia when it comes to our Christian faith?
I'd say it would start with like education and stuff, and just having like a mindset of knowing things about the Indigenous culture. Like we have NAIDOC week coming up. I'm not saying like throw this in every single church, but like just having an understanding what NAIDOC week is and why we have that. And then it could be where like as a Christian community, go out and support and just introduce themselves. So because a lot of people look at Christians and be like, you're weird. I've even gotten that where they're like, you're so nice though, but you're a Christian. I'm like, what does that mean? I feel like if you just set yourselves up where just having an understanding of our culture, having an understanding how Aboriginal people work and how they live, and then just sitting there and letting them ask you questions so they can have an understanding of Christianity. And it's really just having the understanding of how a lot of them live, a lot of us live, and how a lot of us see life and just work around that. Like stereotyping is very big, but there's a lot of Indigenous people who do want to find God, and then there's a lot of Christians who do want to communicate with Aboriginal people, but it's just trying to find that line that's not going to offend, either side. And I feel like it's just a communication barrier at the moment. I've seen stuff where it's been like Indigenous people are going hard out for God, and then I see some Christian people coming in and changing their lifestyle to suit their ways, but not bringing in the Aboriginal culture, which does break down. If I have to give up all of this to be with God, it doesn't make sense. Like just certain things like changing buildings. When if you go into the remote communities, there's a community that enjoys doing a lot of events outside, and now there's a place coming in building them a church, and they're not happy. And it's just small things like that. I understand it's hot and this person wants an air-conned room for them, but they like being outdoors, if that makes sense. These people are sitting here in this room that's got open walls listening to the word of God. If that works for them, let them have that. You have to cater to the way they live as well.
What's one truth that you hold close about who God is to you?
I would say he's always there. Like throughout the Bible, he says, I am with you, I am here, and taken that in everyday life with me, especially just waking up. I'm like, I can't be bothered with today. And I just hear, I am with you. So I take that no matter where I am, no matter what stage I'm in my life, whether I'm angry, whether I'm sad, whether I'm sick, he's sitting there, I'm with you, but I'm sick. You're going to get sick? I'm with you. I take that one because it's amazing to feel like someone's always with you. It's powerful for me because of everything I've been through over the last year. It hasn't hit as hard as it has with some other people, but having God there, I know he's taking all of my pain at the moment so I can still show up. And it's nice knowing that because I could be a completely different person if I didn't have God in my life.
Thanks for sharing with us today, Stace. Would you like to say anything else before you wrap up?
I really enjoyed it. Keep listening to Raise Women podcast.
And that brings us to the final episode of our Carrying Culture series. This series has been about raising awareness and deepening understanding, especially around Indigenous cultures. It's been an invitation to listen, to gain perspective, to walk in someone else's shoes, and to begin seeing things through a different worldview lens. Just like when we read scripture, one verse can speak deeply, but when we step back and understand the broader story, the history, and the cultural context, we gain something richer. There's depth, there's scope, there's revelation, there's a whole other story. So as we close this series, I want to leave you with a few reflection questions. Do you know the history of the people in the land you live in? Do you know the history of where you come from? And if you're a believer, what role does your culture play in your faith walk? This is Raise Women, the podcast. I'm your host, Tash. If this episode or any part of this series has encouraged you, challenged you, or made you think of someone, then please share it with them. Let's keep the conversation going. We've got some exciting things coming up, a special launch of our Raised Women community coming very soon, which I'm so excited to share because I've worked so hard on a website and I am not a website designer, but I'll explain more in the next episode. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and now on TikTok at Raised Women Podcast. Stay blessed, Raised Women.